Hi Sifiso, I'm Mahaliah Edwards. I'm a violinist who's recently graduated from the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire, and before that I was a student at the Purcell School for Young Musicians for 2 years. So that was quite a while ago now, it was a good 7 to 5 years ago. So it's changed a lot since I've been there, but I hope I can give you some advice. And most importantly, congratulations, you got into one of the best schools in the world, and it truly is. Having been there, I can really say that it has shaped my whole life, and everything that has happened to me musically and personally actually has stemmed from going to the Purcell School, and it was honestly one of the best experiences of my life, and I felt very, very lucky to be there. So I'm sure you will too, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So yes, congratulations, well done on you. Okay, let's get into the questions then. So your first question is, how is Purcell different to a normal school? The two main differences is that the first thing is everybody is a musician. So everybody at the school who's a pupil, and actually most of the teachers are musicians, so all the pupils play at least one instrument to a very, very world-class high standard, and a lot of the teachers there are amateur musicians, so they know and understand the commitment and just kind of what the lifestyle is of a young musician. So that's the first difference. The second difference is that it's a day and mainly a boarding school, so most people who go there actually live there. So there are 4 boarding houses, 2 for girls and 1 for boys, and another one for younger students, boys and girls together. And basically that is the main difference, is that unlike a normal school where you go there at 9 and leave at 3 or 4, at the Purcell School most people live there, and it's really fun, and you get to do lots of things and maybe share a room and have like a really nice community there. But yeah, that's the main difference. Another difference from a normal school is that you don't have a school uniform. So before I went to Purcell, I had a school uniform from when I was like 4 years old, and I don't know about you, you might have a school uniform. At Purcell you just wear whatever clothes you have, and it's really not a fashion show. A lot of people, you know, were very comfortable and just wore, you know, clothes that were clean and presentable, but it was, you know, you just wear whatever you feel comfortable in. And it's really nice because you get to kind of have your personality with you and have a feeling of home even though you're not there. So yeah, you get to wear your own clothes. So yeah, those are the 3 major differences. Everyone's a musician, it's boarding school mainly, and you don't have a school uniform. What does a normal day at the school look like? Well, I actually went to Purcell in 2013 to 2015, so that was a good 5 to 7 years ago now. But when I was there, for people in the 6th form, you would kind of wake up around 7:30, some people even later, have your breakfast, and then you'd have lessons in sort of 40-minute segments, an hour to 40 minutes, have a break, and that's where everybody goes and gets like tea and biscuits, or just have like snacks in between lessons like they do in the canteen. And then you'd have another lesson or a free period if you're in the 6th form, and most people in the free period, they would just take time to practice, and then the day would kind of go like that, and then you'd have your lunch and then have an hour or 45 minutes of a lesson after lunch, and you might have your cello lesson or your piano lesson if you're doing piano as well, integrated into the timetable of the day like that. After school there's different events, so when I was there it was Tuesdays and Thursdays that you would have symphony orchestra rehearsals, so they would happen from 4 till 6, and then there would be dinner at 6, and then on the other days where you didn't have symphony orchestra you had time to practice or do chamber music rehearsal, so that might be with your string quartet or your piano duo or anything like that. So when I was there, obviously it was a few years ago now, but that was kind of the timetable. And then at the weekends, if you're a boarder like I was, you can, there's so much to do. Like, you can go out to London, or they might do film nights. Oh, I forgot to say, Tuesday was the pizza night. So in the boarding houses, we used to order pizza because there was a special buy one get one free offer on Tuesday. So that's when we would all have a nice time and have pizza night and just watch TV and stuff. But that's usually kind of in the evenings after dinner, and most people would do practice like after dinner in between doing homework and other things like that. So yeah, that was a normal day for me, but it might be slightly different for you when you get there. What do students do at weekends? Students have a lot of freedom at weekends if you're in the sixth form, just because you're older, and you can go to London because it's about 20-minute train journey from Watford Junction, which is one of the train stations that are close to the school, into London. So a lot of people are going to London, or you can visit the Watford town centre, which is like the nearest town to Bushy, and it's kind of like a half an hour walk, but it's really nice to get out of the school grounds. Tesco, I don't know if it's still a thing, but going to Tesco was the highlight of a lot of people's weekends buying food. If you don't know what Tesco is, it's a supermarket here in the UK, and yes, we all really love to go and get food that we liked from Tesco. And generally just hang out and do practice. There was sometimes chamber music school on Saturday mornings, but yeah, weekends a lot of people just did different things. Some people, if they could, they would go back home and visit their family if they were boarding. So yeah, I think weekends is a time for you, and just working out whether you want a break or do a little bit more practice than you would do in the week, or maybe less practice. I used to practice a lot at the weekends actually. Like I would do 4 hours on like a Saturday, or like 5 hours on the Sunday, 4 hours on the Saturday. But you have the time to do it, so it's good. So yeah, you can do anything at the weekends. It's quite flexible. Next question, what's the school's culture like? I think the culture of the Purcell School is a really good question. It's, for me, when I was there, it was definitely a work hard, play hard sort of culture. So that kind of means everybody had a really, really strong work ethic. Like, you would say, oh, do you want to do this? No, I've got to practice. Or shall we do this? No, I really should practice. So people worked really, really hard, and the house parents encourage you to do that. Your friends encourage you to do that as well, and people really took a lot of pleasure really in working hard and reaping the results of their practice. But also, in the same breath, we did have lots of events, and the house parents and the staff there, they really took it like as a big responsibility to make sure that we had time to be normal teenagers, if that makes sense. So there were a lot of kind of parties and social events, and when you get old enough, there was cheese and wine nights, which we really enjoyed. So yeah, I think the culture is a work hard, play hard culture. So you really work hard, but you also know how to enjoy yourself. And I think the main reason why Purcell is such a nice environment is because it's very friendly, and there's a strong sense of community. So as much as people were, practicing by themselves, a bit isolated, there was still that kind of sense of community and friendliness that helps you to kind of achieve all the things you want to achieve when you're working hard. So yeah, work hard, play hard, that's the Purcell culture. Why did you decide to apply to the school? Okay, that's a good question. I mean, the short story is that I wanted to be a musician. I kind of figured out that that's kind of what I wanted to do, but I knew that where I was at the time, in my kind of home city, I just wouldn't be able to progress the way I needed to without moving on to the next level. So I did a bit of research, and there were 2 schools that I applied to, but when I kind of went round Purcell for the open day, I knew it was the place that I wanted to be. Everyone was really friendly, and I kind of finally felt like I belonged, in the sense that, you know, there was other children my age who wanted to practice and loved music and all just wanted to talk about music and live and breathe and sleep music. And I think that was the main reason why I decided to apply to Purcell, is because when I went on the open day, it looked like I could just stay there and live there forever, and I really wanted to be a musician, but I knew I had to get to that next level. So yeah, I applied there and they accepted me. So yeah. Next question. What were the most difficult experiences you had whilst I was in the school? I didn't really have one difficult experience. I think the main thing that made my experience there difficult was just a sense of self-doubt. So when I was there, I'd never seen talent like it. I'd never seen like people play their instruments like that in my life. Like, it was, even though I knew kind of what I was applying for, I didn't kind of, I guess you have to see it to believe it. And when I got there, I was super shocked, and I was just like, oh my gosh, am I really meant to be here? Did they make a mistake? And I think it was just self-doubt that kind of made some of my experience there harder. Yeah, I spent a lot of time going, oh, I'm a bit too scared to do this performance, or I'm not sure if I'm good enough, and all of that. And that's completely normal, and I guess everybody feels like that. But yeah, I feel like that was probably the most difficult experience. I did miss my family as well. Luckily, obviously I'm from the UK, so they weren't too far away, but that, I know for a lot of friends whose families were overseas, that could be a difficult experience for them, not having to see their family for a long time. And next question, how's the school changed your musicality? That's a good question. I think my musicality has changed in some aspects. Like, I'd never done like counterpoint before, I'd never done harmony, I never did like anything to do with Bach chorales or anything like that. And just having, even though I knew quite a lot already before I got there, having that really sewn into my brain enabled me to kind of do everything with my own violin repertoire a lot more insightfully. So it gave me a lot of insight into music and how then I could translate that into my pieces that I was playing. I don't think it necessarily changed, I don't think the school necessarily changed my musicality, I think it just enhanced it. So kind of what I already had was a foundation for me to build skills upon, and the school just provided me with tools that would, you know, already bring what I already had to the table even more and just strengthen those skills. But I think musically I acquired so much knowledge, actually so much more knowledge than I already had, whether that was, you know, the top performers of the time, getting access to, I remember Vladimir Ashkenazi came to the school, and that was amazing, just, you know, amazing top performers and pedagogues and musicians and teachers, and just so many influential people passed through the school, and composers. So I think the whole experience enhanced not just my musicality in terms of the way I was playing or my outlook on music, but just, you know, my whole being. So yeah, it completely changed me as a person and a musician from the inside out, in so many ways. What were some of my best experiences at the school? So many. I think performing at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in the South Bank Centre twice, actually, because I was there for 2 years, so we did a performance there each year. that was one of my favourite things ever, doing Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony. And yeah, the concerts that we played and the concerts that we watched were just electrifying, and just I felt so lucky actually that I just had access to this at such an early age. So it made going to conservatoire actually a lot easier, and it made the transition quite natural because I'd already experienced a lot of really cool stuff before. The Wigmore Hall concerts were really, really good. Make sure you don't pass up any opportunities to go to Wigmore, because they were really special as well, and you get to support your friends, or you get to play there, so those were really good. I think some of the best experiences were just the everyday things, just funny stories that I can share with like my friends or look back on, or just even making the friends that you have there. Like, the good thing about being a Purcellian, is what you'll be known as, is that once you're there, you're part of kind of an exclusive group, and even people who weren't there at the same time as you end up knowing them, and you end up being brought into circles, and there's a sense of kind of, like I say, community and kind of friendship with any Purcellian that has ever lived in a way. So yeah, you're brought into a lovely fold of people, and it's I think that has been one of the best experiences for me actually, just the lasting effects that being a Purcellian has had on me as a person, but also career wise, in terms of, you've got that on your resume, and it's a really strong thing to have. But just the everyday things, just taking advantage of the everyday. So yeah, last question. The last piece that I would have for you, Sifiso, is just to be yourself and to enjoy the time that you have there. 2 years will go by so quickly, because the first year you'll be just trying to get better and get used to the surroundings. The only bit of advice that I'd have for you, Sifiso, is to, number one, be yourself. So that's the only person you can be. And number two, make the most of the experience. It's 2 years that you'll have there, and it flies by so quickly. The first year you'll just be getting used to your surroundings and trying to do your best, improve, enjoy life. But in the second year, then you'll have your auditions for conservatoire, and it will fly by so quickly, and before you know it, it will be gone. So just take advantage of every opportunity you've got there. There'll be loads. Be yourself. There's lots of opportunities to make friends for life, and just take advantage of everything, because it's a really unique opportunity that you have to study at the Purcell School, and there's lots and lots that you can glean from it, both personally and career-wise. So yeah, that's my advice. Just go to Purcell and make the most of it. Congratulations again, and I hope to hear from you, and I hope that you have a fantastic time when you start there in September.